The mystery surrounding Jeff Chandler's death has finally been unraveled, and the truth is far darker than anyone imagined. For decades, Chandler was remembered as the tall, silver-haired leading man who brought Cochise to life in Broken Arrow and dominated 1950s westerns and war films. His death at age 42 in 1961 was long described as a tragic medical mishap, the result of routine back surgery gone wrong. But that story, clean, simple, comforting, conceals a far more disturbing reality. Behind the scenes, Hollywood and Universal Pictures worked tirelessly to hide a truth involving negligence, personal secrets, and systemic exploitation that ultimately cost Chandler his life. The real story of Chandler's final days is not just a medical tragedy, it's a damning portrait of an industry that used its stars until they broke and then quietly erased the evidence. The official narrative, that Chandler died from unavoidable complications, is misleading. A closer look reveals a chain of preventable errors, secrecy, and pressure that transformed what could have been a survivable medical crisis into a fatal ordeal. At 42, Chandler was at a crossroads. His tall, commanding presence and deep voice had made him a reliable star for Universal Pictures, though never quite achieving the superstardom of contemporaries like Gregory Peck or Burt Lancaster. Years of physically demanding roles, however, had taken a toll on his body, particularly his spine. By early 1961, chronic pain from a herniated disc left Chandler with no choice but to undergo surgery. Publicly, this was described as routine, a minor setback before he could return to his busy filming schedule. Hollywood, as always, prioritized appearances over reality. The surgery, performed on May 13, 1961, was anything but routine. Hours later, Chandler suffered massive internal bleeding, a hemorrhage severe enough to send him into shock. Emergency measures were taken, but complications persisted. Multiple follow-up operations were needed to locate and stop the bleeding, placing extreme strain on his body. The autopsy later revealed that a major artery had been nicked during the original surgery, a catastrophic mistake, not an unavoidable complication. For 36 days, Chandler fought for his life, enduring blood transfusions, repeated surgeries, infections, and blood clots. Public statements from the studio painted a rosy picture, describing complications as minor setbacks, while behind hospital doors, he was bleeding to death. On June 17, 1961, Jeff Chandler passed away. The official cause of death, blood poisoning due to circulatory complications, was technically true but deliberately vague, hiding the surgical error that initiated the crisis. Following Chandler's death, his ex-wife Marjorie filed a malpractice lawsuit against Dr. Julian Hoffman, who performed the surgery, and Culver City Hospital. The lawsuit alleged negligence, specifically citing the surgeon's failure to properly protect major blood vessels. But the story received almost no media attention, a stark contrast to the coverage usually afforded a star of Chandler's stature. Universal Pictures played a key role in controlling the narrative. Through both subtle and direct pressure on the press, the studio ensured minimal publicity, protecting both its image and financial interests. The lawsuit was quietly settled out of court in late 1962 under a sealed agreement, likely involving a substantial payout that implicitly acknowledged serious negligence. This confidential settlement not only shielded Dr. Hoffman and the hospital from public scrutiny but also prevented the case from exposing systemic failures in Hollywood medical care. Even after the surgical error, Chandler might have survived with proper emergency care. According to hospital staff, including nurses who worked with him, the availability of blood transfusions and a skilled response team was delayed during critical hours. Cross-matching errors, incomplete protocols, and the absence of immediate vascular specialists contributed to his death. These weren't individual failings, they were systemic failures that compounded the initial mistake. By suppressing these facts through the sealed settlement, the hospital avoided scrutiny, and potential reforms that could have saved future patients were blocked. This pattern reveals a harsh reality about Hollywood's healthcare system: public image often trumped patient safety, even for its stars. Another often overlooked aspect of Chandler's final years involved personal rumors, specifically allegations he enjoyed cross-dressing. While these details might seem trivial today, in the rigidly masculine culture of 1950s Hollywood, even whispers could end a career. Esther Williams, who briefly dated Chandler, revealed in her 1999 autobiography that she discovered him wearing women's clothing, information that would have been scandalous if widely known. Rumors reportedly reached studio executives and casting directors, influencing the quality and prominence of his roles in the years before his death. By 1959 to 1960, Chandler's roles began to decline in prestige. Friends noted he became increasingly anxious and preoccupied with career security, a stress likely contributing both to his back problems and his diminished resilience during the medical crisis. Chandler's grueling work schedule exemplified the studio system's exploitation of talent. Contracted to appear in up to 5 films per year, he endured demanding stunts, fight scenes, and long hours, all while masking increasing pain. Studios prioritized productivity and profit over the long-term health of their stars. During his hospitalization, Universal recast his upcoming projects within days, demonstrating the studio's preference for financial interests over loyalty to an injured star. After his death, tributes were minimal, and efforts to preserve his legacy were sparse. Universal's treatment of Chandler reflects a transactional system: extract maximum value while capable, then discard when no longer viable. The truth revealed. When these 5 aspects are considered together, Chandler's death transforms from a simple medical tragedy into a cautionary tale of negligence, exploitation, and institutional cover-up. He died from a preventable surgical error, compounded by hospital failures, career pressures, private rumors, and the studio's cold pragmatism. The full truth was deliberately suppressed, creating a sanitized story that persisted for decades. Jeff Chandler's life and death illuminate not just the human cost of Hollywood's studio system, but the lengths powerful institutions will go to preserve image over accountability. The mystery of Chandler's death is not simply how he died, it's how the preventable circumstances were hidden for so long, leaving the public with a sanitized version of events. By acknowledging the complete story, we honor Chandler's memory and remind ourselves of the importance of questioning the narratives Hollywood has long presented as history.